My name's Ben Cook, welcome to Hungry For You. Today you join me on Molly's pond, which is part of the Breakwood complex. You join me for step 2 of the cold water season, and today what I'm fishing is sloppy paste, and I'm feeding it and fishing it just a little bit different than I would in the summer, sorry. And I'll go through that as soon as I land this fish. Nice little F1 to start with. Lovely quick bite. Perfectly hooked in the lip. Let's get him run up and we'll go through. Oh, looks come off in the net, which is great. So beautiful sort of start to the day. Lovely condition that fish is. Let's get this hook out the net and we can get him back and have a little talk about the rig. So if obviously you've seen my summer fishing paste videos or any other fishing paste videos that I've done, you'll see that the premise is very much on how easy it is to do, and it's all about how you alter that for different times of year. So I'll start with the setup first, and then we'll have a little talk about that, and then we'll talk about the bait. So the float, long bristled shanty sort of style. Quite a long float, and that all varies on what depth you're on. Now, sort of the depth we've got is around nearly 2.5 to 3 foot, and we want a long stem float. We want it to be stable in the water. We want it to be responsive, and we want to be able to see the bristle. So the bristle's important that you have a long bristle. So going from there, the line that I've chose today is 014 refill power, and that's down to an 013 hook link. Now that's sort of in the middle of light and heavy, due to, you know, most times paste it'll catch F1s or it'll catch carp, so that's what we're aiming for. The hook I've chose today is a little smaller than what I'd use in summer. It is a size a size 12 hook, but in the summer I would probably have a size 10. Now the reason that is not because I like to use big hooks, it's purely on the fact that when you're in that paste it pulls through, and you know, you're just hooking the fish. You want a little bit more of a wider gaped hook in order to strike through and get that bite. So that's the only reason that we use that. So I've got one number 8 on that hook link. Hook link's about 12 inches. And I've got one number 8 on there, and that's all I've got on the hook link, and then nothing on the main line, and I've got 3 number 8s just above the hook link, and that just to get the bait straight down, straight to the bottom, and that will just cock the float, and then the paste is set to dead depth. So what I mean by dead depth is when I plumb up, the plummet is on the floor, and the float is exactly how I want to see it in the water. Now when you do that, that means that if it's undershotted, when I put that paste on and it sinks down, it'll bring the float to the right correction, and I know that paste is on. So really simple, and then a little sort of cad pot or feed pot, whatever you want to call it, on the top of there. So that's the most important. Oh, sorry, the elastic's number 10. So it's not so it's 10 to 12. So it's nothing crazy. It's elite. It's really stretchy. So the paste. Now I'm not going to show you mixing the paste, but because if you go through my other videos, you'll able to see it. This is the sloppy version. So you always add your water first, and you add your bait to that. Now, what I always go for is 50-50 blend of marine halibut and green swim stem. So I would cover that, and I'd make it almost look like a soup, and I'd bring it to a consistency where it's just sort of like a thin porridge, and I would leave that to soak up all the water, and then it sets quite stiff, and then it's a matter of just touching a bit of water and mixing it until you get the consistency, which is like this. So you can go sloppier than this, but this is pretty wet, so that won't stay on the hook. You have to use the cad pot, which we'll show you how to do. But the reason why I want it soft in the winter is because the fish are a bit more nervous, and it looks like broken down food, and they feel a bit more confident feeding on it. If it's stiffer, sometimes they're a bit more reluctant to take it. So for better hook holds with shyer bites, that's why I go to the sloppy paste for the winter. I use it in the summer as well, but usually on tougher venues. Now in the summer what I would do is I'd be having sixes, hard sixes or hard fours, or some big venues where there's just really big fish, I'd use hard eights. Now what we're doing today is using soaked micros, so just simply soaked. These are fishery owned ones from Oaks, and they're I soak them for about a minute for a 2mm one, purely because they break down a little bit faster. If you watch my video I did last week on the pellet feeder for the first in this little mini series, you'll see how to prepare those. So I'm feeding sort of around that much every time, and it's just to keep the fish there and not overfeed them. That's the basics around it. So I think what next to do is just get that bait on. I'll show you how to put that on, and then we'll get it out there. Right guys, so I'll show you the little way of hooking a paste. Some of you will be familiar, some of you won't. So you're looking at this sort of size, which is about a thumb, half of your thumb size, which you think seems a lot, but obviously it starts to break down in the water, and it's, like I said, it's soft, so the fish eat it as a sort of a slurry, and they just suck it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move a little bit closer to camera without trying to break any pole sections. We'll move a little bit closer to camera. As you all know, I only film on my own, so sometimes can make things a little bit interesting. So to do it, what we've got, we'll pick up this top kit and hold that in our arm. So what we've got obviously is a piece of paste like that, and I've just flattened it down. As you can see, a little thumbprint in there. We've got the hook, and the hook goes into the middle, and we just fold the paste around it to create a ball like that, and then we just nip it towards the top of the line, leave it almost like a little pear shape, as you can see. And then I'll go back to the box and we'll show you how that goes onto the box, onto the thing. Right, so important to sort of get that done first, because if you put pellets in, by the time you messed about, your pellets are going to drop out of your pellet pot. So once you've done that, you've got your paste. You just let it sit on your leg, get yourself a few pellets, and put your pellets in. Now, very important to watch where your line is and which side. Obviously I'm left-handed for fishing the pole, so I'm going to put my line in from the right hand side. If you were right-handed, you'd probably put it in from the left hand side, and the reason is, I will show you when we get out. It's very simple, and this is why we have all the line free, and we let it, obviously it's quite windy today, but so it's blowing it naturally out of the way. Now I've got a far back marker. Now if it wasn't windy, what you would do is slightly gently move the line to the left, and you just move close to the water and lay it into the water the same way that you put the paste into the pot, and then just drop your foot back on it, and then your line will be free. It won't be tangled around anything, and it'll settle nicely on the place that you're fishing. And it's as simple as that. But remember, obviously when you're paste fishing, it's important to just be methodical, as with all fishing, but be methodical, have a little bit of towel to your hands, to clean your hands, and just get in a little routine. With this time of year, that was a silly quick attempt. So as I'm just going to explain, actually leads me onto a good point. Don't hit those small tap bites. Now that was just prime example of what not to hit. So the reason you don't hit those bites is because they're not really eating the bait. They're just sort of nosing it, or liners. What you want from a proper paste bite is it will either rock it under, or it'll come out really fast out the top of the water. Any one of those two, and you want to hit it. Now when it comes to striking, a normal strike that you would do is not good enough with a paste. It feels almost like you're striking too hard, but you sort of need to. So what you need to do is strike firm up, and not to the sides, straight up, and it'll pull the hook out of the paste and straight into the fish's mouth. you've got to remember that the fish is going to suck it in, it's going to suck the hook in. If you pull it left, you might pull it out of its mouth. If you pull it right, you might pull it out of its mouth. What you want to do is just strike directly up, and nine times out of 10, what that'll do is it'll put the hook in the top of the top lip, and that's exactly where you want it and exactly how you need it to do. So try and keep your line out of the water. Don't hit any bobber bites like I did just then. What you want to do is a straight down or a straight up bite, and hit. No, I'm not saying Mask a Zorro strike it like a samurai sword, but it just wants to be a firm upwards movement. You want to be striking about 1.5 feet in distance, just a firm, quick movement, and you shouldn't get yourself in any tangles or anything like that. Be straight up, and 9 times out of 10, if it goes under like that, you'll be hitting the fish. And that's another thing as well, is if obviously you've got a firmer paste on, it's even more important. Like I have in the summer, and they're really having it. I have a thicker paste on, it's basically the same quantities of everything. It's just I don't wet it down as much, and the reason I do that is so I can swing it out, because it's usually fast and it's down the margins, so it's off your top kit, and you just want to get in there and go. So like I say, with the sloppy, it's got a different presentation. It's a little bit more work, obviously having it in the pot and stuff like that, but we're not here, it's not rapid fishing like it is in obviously hotter months. Into the second fish now. Lovely, fast bite. It feels like another little F1. Plodding away. Oh, that's a nice, lovely little F1. Such nice fish in there. Catching F1s. It's not always about the big fish. Look at that. This is what I mean by sort of striking hard. Obviously that hook pinged off in the net again after we took the pressure off the fish, and that's just proves what I was saying about striking hard enough. Look at that, just absolutely fin perfect, beautiful sort of dorsal, lovely colours in the sunshine, lovely little fish. Happy to catch those all day in these cold conditions. Let's get back in, see if his dad's there. So just a quick little update of what I've done. I've just sort of extended the line a little bit. What's happened is, obviously when I started the session and I plumbed up, the wind was actually okay. So I had about 4 inches of line from the hook. Sorry, from the tip of the float. So what I've done is extended that line quite considerably to around just over 1 foot. And normally I wouldn't fish anywhere near that, but the wind is at times is really blustery. So what I'm doing is keeping a tight line, but it just allows me, when the tip of the pole moves with the wind, which I can't really do anything about, it stops me tugging and moving the pole float around, and it just gives me a better tension on, a better sort of reaction on the bait. Now it seems to work, because straight away then I had that fish, and that's probably to do with help, because I was tugging the sort of the float around, and probably eventually loosening that paste off the hook. But straight away then we're just having that little, keeping the line off the surface, but just having that little bit of extra line if the pole moves in the wind. Just straight away I could see an indication and a fish straight on. So just a little tip, if it does get windy, don't be afraid to just extend that line a little bit, to allow you to fish the same way. So as you can see now, the tip of the pole's blowing about, but the float's not moving whatsoever. But I've still got that line off the surface, a little bit of a bow in it, but it allows me to still strike quickly if there's a bite. Just little small tips like that can make your you experience a lot better, especially when you're fishing paste, because it don't matter as much as if you've got stagnant static bait. You know, it's not going to come off, but obviously if you're ragging your float around with paste, it's going to pull off. Plus you're not going to see your bites. Into another fish, and a little F1 starting to come thick and fast now, which is good. Oh, it's a little skimmer getting in on the action. The bites are starting to come thick and fast now. Oh, it's got a little bit of a scar on it there. It's still a lovely little fish. Let's get back out and see if we can end on getting another F1. So repeating that process. Repeat that process. Notice that I use Preston's Ventilite trays with a hood on. Now I've always had the monster trays, and they are great pieces of kit. But I've gone to this Ventilite and with a hood, and it is brilliant. Honestly, if you're thinking about getting one and you're not unsure, I mean, always go to tackle shop and have a pick up. But the build quality, it is so strong. The clamps on it are super strong on your legs. The hood is fantastic, easy to use. 4 different tighteners. You can take it off if you don't want it on. What a bit of kit. I love it. You've got, obviously, keep all your bait there, keeps it out of the wind from drying it out, and the sun from drying it out, and the rain when it's raining, you get all in your maggots, and then your maggots climb out and all that kind of business. It's perfect. It's such a good piece of kit. So I've done a review on it, so if you ever want to have a look at review, just check through the videos in the review section, and there's a review on it. But what a piece of kit. And we'll see if we can have another F1 to finish, or a carp. Carp would be nice, but I'd assume later on in the day would be the carp. And maybe if there's the skimmer there might be a few skimmers that will settle in. As we all know, the skimmers love the micro pellets, and they're not shy of eating paste either. Nor is any fish really. Most fish will eat the paste. I must tell you, this wind, you might think you're looking on camera now and you think, wow, it's a sunny day, he's doing tips on cold water fishing. Why is he doing that? It's April. Well, it's cold. It is cold, and you might think, all right, yeah, we're out of full winter, but I tell you now, it's still really cold. Into another fish now. Feels like possibly another skimmer. Might have set in at the skimmers. I assure you, it's cold. Yeah, it's another skimmer. So it looks like we're going to be finishing on a skimmer, because usually where there's one, there's a few. But not everyone's cup of tea. But that's not a bad stamp of fish, and especially in cold water. I take skimmers like this all day long. Yeah, so lovely little fish. Little tip when you're holding your skimmers: if you put your thumb and your finger, and you can hold them up against the top of the head, and that can make it easier for picking them up, and when you're putting them into your net and things like that. It doesn't hurt them, as long as you don't stick your fingers in the gills or anything like that. Goes with other fish as well, but a bit easier for skimmers with the shape of them. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed myself actually filming this video. It's nice to be back out in the scene, and I know I've been obviously out and about with work and bits and bobs like that, but nothing. I always apologise for it, and I know there's nothing I can do about it, but nice to be out again and showing you some tips and just doing a bit of fishing, to be honest. But yeah, if you if you enjoy these videos, please share them with your friends, or if you're getting into fishing, this is what it's all about. It's not here to tell professionals or good matchmen how to fish. They know how to fish. It's for the everyday angler, the people that want to try new things out, people that don't always know anything about new methods, or they want to try something different. It's about learning about products and things that are coming out. I do reviews. We'll do obviously different venues and different methods of fishing as well. We've done a bit of predator fishing. We'll be doing some river fishing when the season opens back up, for barbel and things like that. We've got some exciting things planned for the summer, and we'll just keep bringing you as much content as we can. But join us on the Facebook group, because that's a fantastic venture that we started a couple of years ago, full of lots of good members, free to join obviously. Just request to join, just search Angling for You, and myself, Matt, or Nicky Pritchard will add you on there. There are 3 admins on there, and like I say, it's just an extension of the channel, so the videos that come on YouTube will be posted on there, along with all the other members from around the country that you can ask questions and ask things about tackle. The thing about Angling for You is there's no silly question if you don't know the answer to it, so don't feel that you're being stupid or you're asking a stupid question, because that's just not the case. So yeah, join us on Facebook, like I said, at Angling for You. If you want to post pictures and stuff on there, that's great. If not, you want to post them on the Instagram. If you're an Instagram fan, go onto the Instagram, angling_for_you, post your photos on there again, share and with your friends, and tag us in to things, and when you're posting on your own Instagrams. Thanks again for watching. Join, like and subscribe on YouTube, coming up to 1 million views now, which is phenomenal. Yeah, thanks for watching. Tight lines.